Hey guys, the following episode is a short interview I did with a gentleman by the name of Poole. Ben is the creator of HVAC Tactical. We got a chance to talk at the Women in HVACR conference here in Dallas a couple of weeks ago. And I got to tell you, I really enjoyed meeting this guy. In fact, after this episode was recorded, we stuck around and just talked shop for a while. Ben Poole created HVAC Tactical as a gear and an apparel company, and it's really just blown up from there. For those that don't know, it's he's got a magazine, and then every year he does these HVAC Tactical Awards where he honors people in the HVAC field. And it's just considering the amount of people that I've interviewed in the HVAC space and having spent 15 years or so in the industry, I felt it was a really great conversation. I'm glad that I met him, and I really hope you enjoy our conversation. Ben Poole, I hear amazing things about you. Why don't you tell everybody who doesn't know who you are?
I'm just a third generation HVAC guy that is passionate about my trade, and I want to leave the industry in a better place than it was when I found it. And so I've done that by doing a series of things within the HVAC Tactical brand.
Yeah.
So, yep.
And what are those things?
HVAC Tactical started about 6 years ago, and actually 6 years ago this month, and it started as a clothing brand. So searching for cool shirts and hats that represented what I did every day for a living that were very few and far between. And if you could find them, they were very gimmicky, very cheesy, not something that I would wear. And then you were forced to either wear like an OEM hat, right? Honeywell, Carrier, Lennox. If you're a Carrier guy, you'll never wear a Lennox hat. If you're a Lennox guy, you'll never wear a Carrier hat, right? So I wanted to bridge the gap and have a kind of agnostic brand that was just a brand of the people, something that just stood for excellence and mastery of your craft. And so HVAC Tactical was born. And then that molded into a black tie Emmy style award show that we do once a year, right at the before the opening night of AHR in the city of wherever AHR is being hosted.
Yeah.
And then out of that came the HVAC Tactical magazine, which is essentially like a Sports Illustrated, if you will, for HVAC, without the bikinis, obviously.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see me in a bikini.
Very cool. I did get invited to one of your events actually a couple of years ago in Vegas, and my times of flying in, I didn't get a chance to make it, but I was really happy. And I'm not sure if it was Gil or if it was Tersh that won that year. I'm pretty sure it was Tersh that won for podcast of the year. I think it was.
In Vegas, it was neither. It was neither one of them.
HVAC Jerks won that year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Vegas was the very first live show that we ever did. Jerks took the podcast award home for that.
That's right. Jerks did take the podcast home for that.
Yeah. Then Gil, then Tersh.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So.
That's right. Actually, and so I know Gil and Tersh for some years now. They kind of like helped me to sort of springboard me here, and I'm really happy, and I love having conversations with guys like you. So do you still operate an HVAC business?
I do. I just started my third one.
Where is it?
Austin.
Oh, it's in Austin?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And this is your third one?
Correct.
So you sold both the other ones?
My first company I had in Arizona, I sold it. And my second company I had in Austin, Texas with my dad. My dad and I decided about 2 years ago that we needed to go our separate ways. And so I walked away from that company. So with nothing.
And now a new one. What's the new one named? What's it called?
Crafted Comfort.
Crafted Comfort.
Yeah.
Is it like a play with like K's? Crafted Comfort.
No.
It's CRAF. Austin's such a great market. You've been living in Austin a while?
10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's home for me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Texas claims me officially now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're a Texan now. So the tactical idea was how many years ago?
We started that brand October of 2018, so 6 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so since then, the magazine, obviously, there's a huge social media presence, and the event. Very cool. And do you come up with all the awards, by the way? Do you come up with the different categories?
Yeah. So I have a small committee. I'm moving this table. I have a small committee that is kind of a rotating committee, and we try to keep who's on that committee on the hush hush, just because it's just easier that way than somebody going, hey man, I heard you're on the committee. You're like, hey man, vote for me. You know, it's just like, I'm not trying to do that. It needs to stay authentic. It needs to stay genuine, non-gimmicky.
That's smart.
Yeah. And so, so for the first couple of years, I did all of the awards, and then I would run it by the committee. And the committee, this is the largest committee that we have this year. I think there's 6 of us now. We were trying to get a 7th person, but we just couldn't all agree on the 7th person. So we just decided to keep it at 6.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What's the coolest award you think out of all the HVAC Tactical Awards? Like what's kind of the weirdest and coolest one?
That's a good one. There's a lot of new ones this year, so it's hard to speak on what's this year, but I would say in the previous years, I would say the coolest one is probably going to be a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's some guys that you've never even heard of, but you've probably read their books, right? Really? You've probably seen curriculum from them. You've probably done book work through them, but you never realized like who they are.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a real problem. I think if you're really giving back to the industry and dedicating your life and your craft to this trade, like you should be recognized for that. You know, you should be honored for that.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that we do. So I'm a real big fan of the Lifetime Achievement Award. And, you know, we utilize a lot of different influencers and previous winners and even co-sponsored with like companies to present these awards. And then the Lifetime Achievement Award is I always take that one and I always present the Lifetime Achievement Award. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Let me ask you this, because obviously you run multiple businesses, right? The HVAC Tactical it's not profit, but right, it's a nonprofit. Or
it's not a nonprofit.
Okay, so you make money. Okay, so either way, so HVAC Tactical and then Craft to Comfort. You obviously HVAC bred like through and through, right?
Yeah.
You've been doing this a long time. Your dad is an HVAC, right?
My grandfather,
like 3rd generation, right?
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. What percentage would you say of like your time, day, whatever business is like, what percentage of that is like true HVAC? Like we have a divide in our industry and it's pretty simple, right? I mean,
I know where you're going with this. For me, for years, I struggled with, my identity was wrapped up in my craft. My identity was wrapped up in my career. If you were to have stripped 2.5 years ago, if you would have stripped HVAC from my life, I would have, who am I? I would have been lost. I've been through a lot over the last 2.5 years, a lot of personal growth, a lot of spiritual growth, going through a divorce, navigating those waters really allowed me to recenter and refocus who I am and to whom I belong and my identity. And now I don't struggle with that anymore. So I realized that the AC company could go away, Tactical could go away tomorrow, and I would be okay with that. So I realized that all of this is just a gift, if you will, and it's temporary, right? So, you know, who knows what happens when I'm gone, right?
Yeah.
And nobody else has really done this before. So this is all kind of, you know, trailblazing, experimental type stuff, right? So, so yeah, I mean, hopefully I can leave something like this, kind of a legacy thing with my kids. I mean, that would be cool, but my kids don't really have any interest in being in the business. And for years I said, I don't really want them in the business, you know? So this business will spit you up. It'll chew you up and spit you out. There's no doubt about it. But for me, I really spend most of my time, I used to spend most of my time doing HVAC stuff. Now being that I'm primarily HVAC Tactical and I have help on the Craft and Comfort side where I don't have to be in that thing every day, all day, that I probably spend about 60% of my time on tactical stuff. And I spend 40% of my time with my kids and doing stuff like that. So yeah, I've realized that working every day and being on the grind, and I get it, you got to make money, you got to provide, right? But at the end of the day, it's like when you are on your deathbed, you're never going to look over at your kids and say, man, I should have took one more service call.
Yeah.
I wish I could have serviced a couple more clients, right? It's quite the opposite. It's like, I wish I would have spent more time with you, right? So instead of saying that when you're 80, 90, 100 years old, say that now. Spend the time with your kids now. This is time with your kids you can't get back, right?
Yeah.
So, and how you shape your relationship with your kids now has a drastic impact on your relationship with your kids when they get older. So again, I've learned a lot over the last 2.5 years. And really what it boils down to is getting your priorities in line. So, And that's where my priorities are.
That's some really like amazing self-reflection. When you started HVAC Tactical, like, what were the things that you kind of like that sort of latched on as being like, okay, this is cool. Now all of a sudden I've got all this sort of awareness on HVAC Tactical, and then all of a sudden things kind of took off because everybody in the industry knows HVAC Tactical.
Well, I don't know about that.
A lot of people, yeah.
It's, I was here. I introduced myself to somebody. I said, "I'm Ben, by the way," and then she goes, "Ben Poole," and I'm like, "So that was cool, right?" But that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've only scratched the surface on this thing. I mean, more people don't know about what we're doing than people who do, yeah. Right? And so the goal here is to become to HVAC what Red Bull is to action sports, right? So if you're in the industry and I say Lennox or Carrier or Trane, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? And that's the goal, is we want to get to a point where it's like when you say HVAC Tactical and you're in the trade, you know exactly what it is we're talking about. Mm-hmm. So we still have a ton of growth to do, but it was
where's that going?
It was the original award show that really kicked everything off. So we did the award show in Vegas, and that was like the catalyst that just catapulted, right? And then all of a sudden you catapult for the next 12 months, and then you hit the next award show and catapult again. And then people are like, how did I not know about this? Right? Because it's just something so unique and so different. I mean, blue collar guys like me and you don't get to wear tuxes on a regular basis, right? So this is an opportunity for regular dudes who are blue collar to go black tie for a night, walk a red carpet, take some cool pictures with your wife or your girlfriend or whoever, and then have some cocktails, have dinner, have an award show. And really, man, you're getting to be in a room with 300 other people who are great.
Also don't wear tuxes very often.
Yeah. And they're all just trying to be masters of what they're doing, right? Like we all share this common bond of just like HVAC, man. It's like if you get around another HVAC guy, you just start chatting, right? And you just can't stop. And this is how it is. And not only that, but we also put you in a room with a bunch of other OEMs and sponsors. And so now you, especially if you're kind of big on social media, now all of a sudden you have these opportunities to work with these companies and get paid to promote their products and stuff. Whereas before you're just using their products because it's a good product, right? So now you can get paid to use their product and promote their product online. And now you're building a relationship with an OEM that you might even have like direct impact on that product, because you'd be like, this is not good and you need to fix this, right? And they go, well, what do we need to fix about that? So all of a sudden now your opinion is valuable, Yeah.
Very, very cool. Awesome, man. Dude, I really appreciate it. This is impromptu, by the way. I saw Ben he just was walking up and walked over. Hey guys. I saw them come up, and I saw him come up, and I was like, hey man, you want to just come on? And he was like, sure. Okay. So it was nice of you, man. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Anything? All right. Well, before you go, because I don't know when I'll see you live again, because I would love to come down to Austin if you want to do a live podcast.
Let's do it.
But what is one experience, okay, preferably in the field, that lives with you forever? Maybe a customer interaction.
Yeah, I got one.
Shapes you.
Yeah. So I talked about, growth and where I am in my faith and in my spiritual walk. And like, I know who I am and to whom I belong. And at the end of the day, it's all about serving other people. And so I was on a job one time and I was on a sales call, and I came to this guy's house to give him an estimate. And not exactly sure how it all unfolded, but he basically was telling me, how his wife is cheating on him, and he doesn't even know if he's going to be in this house. Like, he doesn't know if he should buy an air conditioner, asking me like, what should I do? And I'm just like, man, that's a tough one. Right. And so him and I just really, I don't know, man, it was just one of those things that just became very real, and I've been through similar experiences in my life. And so I was able to relate. And both of us just kind of, cried together, and I'm just walking him through like how I've dealt with stuff like that. And, and that there is a brighter side to all of this. And, and I obviously left there with like zero, like, dude, I don't care if you buy an air conditioner from me or not. You know what I mean? Like, awesome. But leaving there, really what it did was left the impression of like, man, I am here on this planet to serve people, right? And in the HVAC business, this is a service business, right? The greatest thing you can do in life is serve other people. 100%. And so that's one of the things that makes this industry so great. And for me, that's an experience that I'll never forget, an interaction with a client where it just opened up.
See, you were in the same place in life, like very similar places in life. It's amazing how and I believe in God. So it's amazing how you somehow
the Lord will put you in a place where you need to be.
Somehow the two of you ended up in that space together and were able to share a cathartic, moment and work through it. And we don't have enough time now, but man, I've been there. I totally understand it, except it wasn't a guy going through the same thing as me. It was an 85-year-old woman. I'm not even kidding you. It was the craziest thing in the world, right? And we were sharing something that was happening to us both at the same time. Yep. And 50 years apart, right? So very, very cool.
At the end of the day, we're all human beings, right? We all have this core inside of us that is full of emotion, and and like when you can just relate to people and really kind of have this empathy of what they're going through, right? And sometimes having the right words is not necessary. Sometimes it's just being there,
listening,
just crying with somebody,
being a
right?
Therapist.
Just being there, right? So the words aren't necessarily the most important thing. It's your presence and your intention. So
intent, very good, dude.
Yeah, man.
Ben, cool guy, man.
Appreciate
I really
that.
enjoyed this. Awesome. So we are, Ben, I appreciate you. I've got other people I think I'm going to talk to here, but also I have an interview later with this amazing service technician who posts these incredible videos, educational videos. His name's Jordan. Many of you in the Dallas area know him, Jordan Wiggins, and maybe you've seen his stuff on TikTok too, because he's kind of blown up. So I'll be talking to him full blown episode later. So this is a day where if you're on your social media feed, you're going to get really tired of seeing me. So, all right, guys.
HVACtactical.com.
Oh, plug it.
HVACtactical.com.
HVACtactical.com for a sweatshirt.
For the latest and greatest in all things HVAC.
Very cool.
We'll see you guys.
HVACtactical.com.
That's right.
All right. See you guys.
See you.